Board of Custer County Commissioners for Wednesday, September the 6th, 2017. And at this time, I would like to ask for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Jay, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, roll call.
Commissioner Katnick,
Present.
Commissioner Hood,
Present.
Commissioner Prince,
Here.
Attorney Clint Smith,
Present.
and Clerk to the Board Kelly Campbell present.
Thank you. At this time, do we have any amendments or adjustments to the agenda?
No.
I do not.
Okay, the agenda will stand as published. We would like to move now on to the audience introduction. Start with
Let
you,
me
Jackie.
start. I'm Jackie Bubis with the Sentinel.
Dan Bubis. Dan Fisher.
John Johnston.
Jason Coleman.
Bob Custer. Bob Jolly.
Julie Stanford.
Ma'am.
Kay Valerio.
Tom York.
Nancy York.
John Genovese.
Tim Stidolo.
Thank you very much. And again, the purpose for this is to get your voices on tape. So if later we need to refer to something, we do hope they can identify who we had in the audience. Is there any public comments at this time for the board?
Ask, what was the resolution yesterday on the gate on County Road 139?
The resolution,
We didn't do a resolution.
Or not resolution, I'm sorry, what was the disposition of, what did y'all decide to do on County Road 139?
we asked the Road and Bridge to go out and visit with them, see what they could reach some kind of agreement.
Okay.
If you go back, I think you were here, we had, maybe you weren't, but we had some action that was taken clear back in 2009 regarding that. At that time, they were to get together and reach a resolution and go forward, and that apparently has never happened.
Okay,
So we're going to talk to the parties and we'll work out and we'll solve it.
sounds good, thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? Okay, folks, thank you very much. Do we have any minutes to approve?
Nope.
No.
No minutes. Commissioner items.
Nothing since yesterday.
Nothing since yesterday.
I just have an announcement in a general nature, folks. You probably already know, but yesterday we had a moment of silence for the Russia boys, and their services will be, and help me if I make a mistake here, will be at noon on Saturday in the East Gymnasium of the high school, followed by a graveside service at Ulay Cemetery, and then a get-together back at the rodeo grounds, isn't it?
The Saddle Club for lunch.
Yeah, back at the Saddle Top building for lunch. Thank you. Well, one other item, and I may be mistaken, but I think not. Memory serves me right. These boys' great-grandfather served a term or more as county commissioner back in the 60s. Ralph Austin would have been there, one of the grandfathers. So, okay, let's move on to the exec. I have nothing for commissioner items either. Attorney items?
The issue we talked about yesterday, the ballot question, you'd asked me to do some revisions to that, so I did that, but Kelly also contacted me later, or left a message for me that it needed to be done in the form of a resolution, so you should have before you resolution number 17-18. And if you would like, I can read it. The ballot question is attached to it. It's incorporated. That was what Kelly had said, that it should all be incorporated into the resolution. The ballot question is kind of convoluted and unwieldy to try to get all the language in that we'd asked for, but with your permission, I'll read the proposed resolution. A resolution of the Board of County Commissioners for Custer County to pose a ballot question to the eligible voters of the county at the general election to be held November 7, 2017. Whereas the Board of County Commissioners for Custer County, a political subdivision of the state of Colorado, has initiated a discussion on the issue of whether a building code and a fire code should be adopted for the purpose of regulating future construction in the county. And whereas public meetings have been held to solicit input from the citizens of the county concerning adoption of a building code and a fire code, and during these meetings, the suggestion has been made by a number of people that this issue should be placed before the eligible voters at the next general election scheduled for November 7, 2017. And whereas the board agrees that putting the issue of a building code and a fire code to the voters is the surest and most effective method of determining whether a majority of the eligible voters support or are opposed to the adoption of such codes. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of County Commissioners that a ballot measure shall be referred to the eligible voters of Custer County at the general election scheduled for November 7, 2017, and that this ballot measure shall read as follows. Title: A ballot measure referred by the Board of County Commissioners of Custer County to the eligible voters of Custer County pursuant to the provisions of sections 30-11-103.5 and 31-11-101 et sec. CRS, as authorized by a majority vote of said board at a regularly scheduled public meeting held on August 31, 2017. The purpose of this ballot measure is to ascertain whether or not a majority of the eligible voters are in favor of a county building code and a county fire code. And I have it as ballot question 1A. I'm not sure if that's
right.
okay. Shall the Board of County Commissioners for Custer County go forward in conjunction with the Custer County Planning Commission and prepare a proposed resolution for a building code based on the 2006 International Building Code and a fire code based on the 2006 International Fire Code for the unincorporated areas of Custer County, state of Colorado, with said codes to be consistent and compatible with the building codes and fire codes currently in effect in the incorporated towns of Silver Cliff and West Cliff, and further with said codes to be subject to an express provision that the resolution would be prospective in nature only and would not apply to existing structures or to structures that are properly permitted and under construction at the time said resolution, if approved, becomes effective. And then a line for signatures.
I have one change on there.
Yes,
It's a coordinated election, not a general.
coordinated election.
And I gave those to Brenda, so she'll.
Okay, well, that certainly is fine.
I move that we adopt resolution number 17-18, a resolution of the Board of County Commissioners for Custer County. Pose a ballot question to the eligible voters of the county at the general election to be held on November 7th, 2017, with the minor correction that was just announced.
Is there a second?
Second the motion as stated with the correction.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the ballot question 1A regarding the building code and the fire code. Is there any discussion? Either of you?
Nope.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, who are the eligible voters?
I'll refer that to our clerk. I believe the eligible voters are those who live outside the two city
In the
limits.
unincorporated county, so not the two towns.
Property owners that aren't registered voters here?
No.
Only registered voters. Okay, there's been some confusion on that. Thank you.
Okay. My concern, from a discussion standpoint, as I voiced yesterday, I still think this resolution is somewhat incomplete. We say that we are going to follow the International Fire Code and a building code and a fire code based on the 2006 International Fire Code, but we don't really say what we're going to do. We say that it's going to be compatible with the building codes and fire codes currently in effect in the incorporated towns of Silver Cliff and West Cliff. if they have not adopted these, first of all, do we have a fire code within the city limits?
Both Silver Cliff and West Cliff has adopted the 2006 International Fire Code.
So we do have fire codes in effect within the city limits.
That is correct, sir.
Okay. I still feel that this is, if I were to read this as a voter, I really wouldn't have a clear idea of what we were proposing. Having said that, we'll now call for the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Can I respond to that before I vote? What you just said? May I respond?
Go ahead.
Okay. Both the towns have adopted the International Building Code and the International Fire Code. Both towns have made some minor modifications to both of the codes, but in essence, the entire code has been adopted with some minor modifications. The purpose of this resolution is to get a sense of the voters to see if they're in favor of having those specific issues that you're bringing up will be determined by the Planning Commission, and they will bring it to us. So this is simply to determine if the electorate wishes to move forward or not move forward. So I agree with you, this is very general, but in general nature is, do we want to move forward or not? If it's not, we end it right there. If it is, then we'll start working out the details. So I concur with what you said, but I think that's really not the purpose of this ballot issue.
I appreciate your questions. And do you have any other comments you want to make?
Nope.
Do you? All right.
I vote yes.
At this time, I'll call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Aye. Motion passes by majority vote. All right. Anything else?
No,
sir.
you will still need to sign it.
Yeah, I've got the stuff here. Yeah.
That's all I
We'll
have.
have to sign it. Yeah.
That's all
But
I
any
have.
other attorney items?
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
Do we have a need for an executive session today?
No.
I do not.
I have no need. All right, thank you. And again, those of you who were here yesterday, thank you for your patience. It took a while to work through that stuff, but the stuff that we had to do. But I do appreciate the fact that you guys stayed with us and stayed around, so thank you. This time we'll move into new and old business, and the first item we have is a transfer of funds to the airport.
And Dallas came in a week ago, 2 weeks ago, and asked that the remainder of what was in their budget be transferred over from general fund to the airport fund. Susie came in and talked to me about that, and then I think she visited with, did she visit with you, Jay, or?
Yes.
And so maybe you wanna,
Yeah, there's a couple of expenses that have come up at the airport. One is the normal and general insurance policy that needs to be paid. If I remember, it was about $1,300. There was some confusion at the airport thinking that it would come out of the general fund of the entire county. I explained to them that that needed to come out of their budget. It was budgeted, and it needed to come from their budget. So that's kind of where I left it, that it was an airport expense from their budget as opposed to the general fund.
so you don't want to transfer?
I want it to come out of their
Their-
budget. That is correct. So it would not come from the general fund of the county to pay their expenses that were budgeted. Correct.
And I believe that was a budgeted item.
That's correct. It was.
But I think
So
that,
we
I
still
think
have
the
to transfer.
airport is like a fund, and so you still have to transfer money from the general fund to so do they have money in that fund?
They do not. It needs to get transferred into their fund, but it has to be one of their budgeted items, and it was.
Okay. So we do need to do the transfer.
We need to transfer it into theirs from the budget that they've already established, that we've
Okay.
approved previously.
Okay. So that transfer, was it 9,400, Brenda? I threw my thing away because I thought we were not gonna.
Let me see if I can find it.
We got two gentlemen from the airport here.
I know.
Either
Bob, are you back
Comment?
there?
Two Bobs.
here.
Yeah.
Bob's here.
The comment be the one of you, Bob. Bob along there. A comment, thought?
Yes, it was 9,400.
Yeah, so it's 9,400.
Pardon?
9,400 from the general to the airport.
But those are funds that were already appropriated,
That is
just have not been transferred.
That is
So,
correct.
so it's merely a bookkeeping process. It's not a new addition or a new appropriation.
That's
Yes.
correct. The
Yes.
question was, they didn't want it to come from their budget, and I said, no, it has to be part of their budget. That was really the question. So you're absolutely correct. Thank you.
So we need to take action then to make this transfer?
A motion, yes.
I'll make a motion that we transfer how much?
$9,400.
$99,400 from the general fund to the airport fund. And this is a normal transaction because these funds have already been budgeted as they submitted their budgets for approval this last year. And that permits them to pay insurance and other expenses. Do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
And second, was there any discussion?
Nope.
About 3 years ago, the first year I took office, the airport did not even have a budget. They had had prior budgets, but for some reason, and I don't want to get into why, but for some reason we didn't have them budgeted for that particular year. Isn't that correct, Bob?
That's correct.
So we had to kind of scramble and make things work. In order for them to have some money to start with that first year, I do not accept the county insurance. And there's $9,000 or $10,000 that the county saves because they don't have to pay insurance for me. And at that time, we decided to move the savings from my insurance, which had been budgeted for in the budget, over to the airport fund so you could function. And since then, we've moved forward. We're to the point now that we actually have got a pretty good budgeting process in place, I think. And this was something that we discussed at length in last year's budget hearings. So, any more thoughts? If not, I will call for the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Now we're ready for airport report. To the audience, if you have no objections, we do have a time specified here, but if you have no objections, I would like to move forward at this time with the reports. Okay, come forward, Bob. Thank you.
Go get gas days.
Good morning.
Good morning, Bob.
Good morning. Did everybody get a copy of what Dallas had scheduled to discuss? Then I will.
Received minutes,
Yeah.
but that's not an agenda.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll give you an agenda.
So I got also a minute.
All right. That's what he had for his agenda, and somebody scribbled on the bottom of it, and I'm not going to mention any names, but it was
Sorry
Bob
about that.
Custer.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I'm going to dispense with most of it because it's a bunch of stuff that happened last month, and I think most everybody's aware of what is happening down at the airport. But fuel sales for the month of August were 628.2 gallons, and right now we have 1,106 gallons of fuel remaining. So even though we were out of commission until the 8th of August, we had good sales for the month of August, and I expect that again in September, because we have our fly-in on 23rd. So we'll probably be down to where we got to order fuel again. I got the request from CDOT for their annual report that is due from the airport a couple of days ago. It's about a 13 or 14 page report that I've got to send to them every year. It's about a month late in our receipt of it, but they gave us an extra month to report on it, so it's not a big deal. It's only about 16 pages long. Recently, what's been going on at the airport, we just had what is called the Fat Wing Flyers Powered Parachute Group at our airport over the weekend. There was about 25 people or so. They camped out at the airport. Very good crowd of people. They're all in our age group, so they're not a bunch of rowdy kids, but they're very good people. They come in and fly every morning, and then they fly again late in the afternoon because of the weather. But they had a good time. They've all packed up and gone home, and they left the airport in great condition. We did open the airport to them. We opened the hangar space. They set up a band in there. They had a 5-piece band, and they played music at night, and they cooked out in the morning, had a good time, great time. They left the place spotless, so we're using the airport. And of course, you can see from our fuel sales,
Well, that fuel was in.
we're selling a lot of fuel. We got a lot of people down there flying. So anyway, we're putting the ads in the Trib today for the fly-in on the 23rd. We had a fuel inspection this past week.
Can I turn for just a moment, please, Bob? Are you putting that in the Sentinel also?
Dan?
I just put it in the Trib.
Needs to be in both. That's our official publication.
Okay.
We'll do that.
Thank you.
This would probably be at their discretion because it's not an official notice.
Yeah, it's not an official notice. It's just a notice that we're
It
having
doesn't have
a
to go into both papers.
we're having a fly-in and pancake breakfast and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, we did have an inspection by World Fuel this past week. They came down and they went through our checklist. We went through our checklist before they came, and Bob and I made sure that everything was in compliance with their checklist. They did find several nickel-dime things that they weren't defects, but they were some suggestions. Like right now we have 100 low lead on the front of our fuel tank, and they said to help the fire department if they ever came down, it should be on all 4 sides. Okay, not a big deal, and if it doesn't cost the airport a lot of money in our budget, we'll comply with their suggestions. We still have some, when I say nickel dime, I'll retract that just a little bit, because when you talk aviation, nothing is nickel.
Well, I was figuring nickels at 500 and dime at 1,000.
Yeah, sort of. But things aren't cheap when you're talking airports. So we do have some things that we know we need to get fixed, and they will be fixed, and it's in our budget. And we have some suggestions that we're taking into consideration, and if it's within our budget to comply with what their suggestion, we're going to do it. If it's not, we'll probably move it to next year. One of the things, and I get very confused when these guys come down, 3 years ago they told us to take a filter out of our system. We took it out, and that cost us some money to do that. Last year they came down, they said you ought to put the filter back in. When we got the new dispenser, we put a filter back in. This year when they came down, they said, it's the wrong filter. This is the filter you ought to put in there. Okay, is it available? They said they were going to send us the information that it's available. If we can get it, if it's the same price, okay, we'll put it in. If it's not, then
Do you get this in writing from them?
yes, we do. I should have brought it, but I didn't. Sorry.
So could you dispute what they're saying from year to year?
Oh, yeah, and I called Reed Fuller, which is their supervisor, and the guy that came down this last time, and I won't say his name, but he was a first-class jerk. And when I called Reed Fuller, he said that he uses this for an educational thing instead of going down his checklist. Okay, well, we all have had our education. We go to their classes, and it's in our budget for our travel and everything else, and we go to their classes, and that's where I expect to get their training, not when they show up for an inspection. So he put it in writing. He sent it to his boss, and I talked to his boss, and I said, if what he wants us to do is reasonable, okay, they're going to send us the stickers to put on all four sides. I don't have a problem doing that. It's not a big deal. It'll take 15, 20 minutes. We'll put them in there. Some of the things he wants us to do, if it's in our budget to do it, we'll do it. If it's not, we'll put it off till next year and try to comply with whatever they ask us to do.
But or do they put you in a position of getting fined at
No.
a specific period
No.
of time?
No, ma'am. So,
Yeah, I think, my thought on this is that suggestions are fine, but they're only suggestions.
that's it.
And they don't know what they want to do. It's hard to do it.
Well, yeah, and from one year to the next, it changes. So we do what they want us to do if we can do it.
Well, before you go, can I go back to the CDOT? What does CDOT have to do with our airport?
They are, let me get their, they come from the Division of Oil and Public Safety. And it's mainly a paperwork thing. They want to know that we've done our monthly inspections, that we've done our annual inspections on the fuel dispenser and the above ground tank, and we've been doing them. Like I said, it's a matter of sending the paper that we already possess, that we already own, just faxing it to them, and it's really not a big deal.
Thank you.
So
The Colorado Department of Transportation has responsibilities for more than just the road.
that's
Under
correct.
CDOT, Department of Transportation, we have an aeronautical division. And occasionally from the aeronautical division, we can get support for some projects and so forth.
That's correct.
And so from that standpoint, CDOT is the mother regulatory agency of the transportation arm, the airport arm, the aeronautical arm of the department.
That's right. And all they're doing is making sure that we are complying with their safety precautions and procedures. And if we are complying with it, then we can go to them, try to get grants and so on and so forth. So
Thank you.
it's very helpful to all of us.
Appreciate it.
So we stay on top of it and send them the paperwork when they want it.
Sounds good.
You were talking about this parachute group.
Yes.
I mean, people our age were actually jumping out of completely new aircraft.
No. These are
Oh.
powered aircraft.
Oh, okay.
They look like a big airboat, you know, like you see in Louisiana and all over the South.
That's fine.
Only they have
I was
a
afraid I had
parachute.
something ahead of me I wasn't aware of, so
No,
trying to get
they have
some
a
humor
big-
in, folks.
They got a big parachute on top, and they're supposed to be very safe, and apparently they are. So anyway, they're a great group of people. They've been down, this is the third year they've been down here. And every time they come, they're very good people. And we enjoy having them there. And I went down every morning at about 8:30, 9 o'clock to check on them, make sure things were going good and they didn't tear up our facility. And they did a wonderful job.
Did they give you free coffee?
They actually fed us breakfast every morning, and if we wanted to
Now
come
we know
down,
why you went down there, folks.
if we wanted to go down for dinner, they bring their own food and everything, and they had a good time.
Wonderful. Congratulations on a good program.
So it's working.
Do they use the restroom facility there, or do they bring in porta potties?
No, they use ours. They use our shower facilities and our restrooms and everything.
Got
So
a question.
And
Kim.
does this event, when they come here, do they provide, or is it a paid event? I mean, do they pay the county for using the airport?
no, it's a public airport.
But I mean, we don't charge them for using the
No.
hangar facility or anything like that?
No, we just do that as a courtesy because they're good folks and they come down they buy fuel from us. So I don't have a problem with them buying fuel. We make money on our fuel sales, so.
And I don't know how long these people were here, just one night, a couple nights?
No, they were here for 3 nights.
So they may have come to town sometime
Oh, yes, they do come to town.
and spend some money in here too. So that's an added bonus to the community because of the airport.
How do they get to town without a courtesy car?
They come in motorhomes.
Yes, they all come in motorhomes and trucks, and they pull the trailers down to carry their parachutes with them. And they leave those at the airport, and they bring their trucks and come on town and spend money at the local restaurants and local businesses and go to the grocery store and that type of thing. So it's a benefit to everybody.
Great.
Okay? Anything else?
No, sir, that's it.
Well, I offer you again our appreciation for what you and the board are doing out there and how hard you're working to try to make things.
One thing I do have, or one question I have, the budget. What is the cycle for when we have to turn our budget in? I know you've been working with Dallas and Jack, our treasurer, but they're both out of town right now. So they sort of dumped it in my lap.
Well, I think we have, we finished the preliminary budget that they want to suggest that we approve. And Donna, when do you want to
The
have?
15th is when the budgets are due.
15th of
September.
this month.
Yes.
No, just whatever what we did, we're finished.
Oh, okay.
With the preliminary. All we need to do is give it to Donna Hobby,
Okay,
and we're good.
okay,
There's some questions and stuff in there as to what you're looking at down the road
yes,
as well as this year.
yes, very good.
Okay?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
You bet. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Thanks, Bob.
Yep.
You're
Thanks
welcome.
for all you do.
Thank you.
And thank you, Bob, back there. You're welcome. Appreciate it.
And Dan.
Dan, thank you. Next will be the public health, but I want to have a very brief discussion on something else. This would be maybe aimed at the tourism board. The other day, well, last year, I met a group over here purely by chance at JR's, and they were a Jeep club out of Colorado Springs coming down for some activities. This year, going down the Hardscrabble one day, I met 53 Jeeps coming up, which I think was the same Jeep club. And that might be something down the road that we could promote as something to do. I don't know, but it'd be nice if we could get them here and have them spend a little bit of money. But last year when I talked to them, they come up here every year, I think, and the contact would just be through either the El Paso or the Colorado Springs Jeep Association or four-wheelers or whatever. But I was surprised that I met him right in the canyon, but I was kind of bored, so I counted. And I counted 53, basically all in a line coming up canyon. Okay.
I just talked to Alyssa. She'll be here in a minute.
Okay. We'll wait a minute then.
I could get Virginia. Hers is really quick usually. So.
Pardon?
You want me to get Virginia? She's really quick usually.
Sure. Let's do that.
Okay, bye.
Hello. Cold hands.
Good morning.
Morning. Okay. Here's the one you signed.
Oh,
That's the one.
signed the wrong one.
Uh-huh.
Okay. You have the floor.
Just look it over and tell me what you think. If you have any questions. We're still kind of good in County General, so makes me happy.
For the sake of the audience, can you just discuss the contingent fund and how that's being used?
That hasn't been used in, that's actually, let me see, find it here.
Third account.
Yeah. That is something that John is in charge of. And my understanding of the contingent fund is to put monies in there to keep in case of contingency of something happening. And I don't think they put money in it quite a while.
That's my understanding.
He did, I know we did have a problem with self-insurance, and I think it was like 0.5% was going to the contingent fund. I think he took it out of there to put it into self-insurance to help fund that one. So it's probably something we need to bring up with John again to see if we can get something going back in there.
We'll be discussing it with John on Friday
Okay.
in workshop and Donna, because I'm in studying our budget. I'm not really seeing, and I know we discussed this in workshop, we really don't have any money for a rainy day regarding anything. So I was just wondering what this was set aside for in public.
Yeah, that's what it's for. It's
Basically for emergencies.
yeah.
If we have probably the best example we might use is suppose we have a very large blizzard and we end up with a lot of overtime and stuff that wasn't budgeted at the end of the year. We can cover that shortfall out of the contingency fund if we have to.
But as far as anything that's needed over and above capital expenditures, we really don't have anything for a rainy day other than this. And she just mentioned that nothing has really been added to over the years. So
Yeah,
I'm just
and I
trying-
can actually look back and see was the last time that we had something going in there if you want me to.
I would love for you
Okay.
to give me that information.
Okay.
And another use of this would be, Donna, if we have a forest fire that's on private lands and doesn't reach public lands, when the county has to come up with a bigger share of the costs that the state didn't cover, a contingency fund is also in place for that.
Okay.
Yeah, I leave that alone. That's kind of John's
Okay.
area.
I see the line that says sales tax is zeroed all the way across. Where do we account for the county's revenue from sales tax that reimbursed from the state?
This sales tax is what we use, that line item was used for, Road and Bridge used to sell pipe. And we had to send the state the sales tax that was owed from the county.
Okay, so this is not,
They haven't sold pipe in over 20 years, so I finally got rid of that. That's why it's zeroed out. At the end of this year, we will be taking it off. You won't see it on there. The sales tax that we get from the state goes to county general and capital
That's
improvement.
what I thought. Thank you. I'm fine with the report. I think it looks like we're nice and healthy. It looks like it's reported well. Do you know any anomalies we should bring to our attention?
Can you just review for the public your emergency services fund and how that's used?
The emergency services or reserve? Emergency services is for OEM. That's what Cindy Howard uses. That's her budget.
I just want to
And-
make sure in case we have any questions that's
A lot of that is
clear.
pass-through grant money, Donna.
Okay.
Comes in and goes out.
Any anomalies that you noticed?
Well, what I was going to say is county general, I'm going to have to start, we're not getting monies in here pretty soon. In fact, we are not getting a whole lot now. I'm going to have to start watching it, and we'll have to be doing
I
transfers
expected you
from
to ask for transfer today.
No, we're still okay. I mean, I think we were getting a little bit more monies in from zoning, and I think landfill's a little healthier.
Got landfills up.
Yeah. And so, but we're not bringing in very much tax monies. In fact, my next big one will be in November when we do our taxing sale, and then that'll be the end. So usually, typically October, November, December is when I'm transferring monies from PILT to fund the county general.
Okay.
But I think in looking at this as a general document, I don't see any red flags any place that signal we got a major issue.
Now, I'm just looking at, because it's budget time,
Yeah.
looking where some of this funding needs to come from.
Yeah.
So thank you, Virginia, for the
And
explanation.
I've always meant to tell you, and I'm sure you notice it, but I just kind of want to bring it to your attention. We collect for the other entities. So you will see at the end of the year, say Fire District, Upper Arkansas, Silver Cliff, West Cliff, let's see what's the other ones. Library, Round Mountain, those will be zeroed out. The auditor requires us in December to pay all of them their monies, so there's no carryover for next year. So in December, you'll see all of those entities. I pay them every month on the 10th, what we've collected for them, but in December, they'll be paid their full amount.
Okay. I'm just looking, I know it's a minor amount, but what do you use grazing for?
That actually has been sent to Taylor Grazing. It's a pass-through account. They send us the money. We send it to a Tim Canterbury in Slida. He's the one that's in control of that grazing money. So it's just an in and out account.
Any other questions? No one rush it. Take your time.
And then just a clarification on the recording restoration fund.
That's Kelly's.
That's, part of that is monies that Debbie had set aside probably 5 years ago.
Yeah, it's been like
5 or
that.
6 years ago, to our online, where title companies and stuff can go online and look at the recording stuff. They pay us a monthly fee to be able to do that, and then they pay for their copies. And so those checks all went into this to help pay for the book restoration stuff that we've been
that you've been
doing.
doing.
And then our surcharges on every document, which is $1. Now they're $3, but $2 goes to the state, $1 stays with us. That also goes into that fund, and I can use it to update our recording system or different things like that.
And that's by state statute.
Okay.
In January 1st of this year, we quit putting all those checks into that fund. Now it just goes into the general fund, I think, right? And so that won't keep going up, but we still have a little bit to use to fix books.
Okay.
And then you go to zero it out.
Yeah.
Well, you can't because
We
you have
can
that dollar
because of
coming in.
that dollar, but
Yeah.
I don't know if maybe we want to change the name of the fund at that time so that, because it's not really a restoration fund.
Okay, so
I don't
in
know what
December.
John wants to.
Isn't this where the money's coming from, that with the guys that been coming in and whatnot, scanning the documents?
No, this is actually the
That's-
ones that go online.
No, but I mean the
Restoration.
Oh, the
the stuff that
restoration.
we're restoring are the
Yes.
old records that we're scanning, so we have electronic records up.
Yeah, that was all part of it. And then the other part of it is all those really old books. They were just starting to fall apart, and that's not only our
So-
records but history. And so they encased them in protective sleeves and put new covers on them and stuff.
So how much more do we have back there to scan?
If we do everything, quite a bit. We have just been working on the worst of the bunch right now.
Where I'm going with this, I don't need a definitive answer, but where I'm going, as we go to have the ability to store stuff electronically, I think it's important that we have a record as best we can of our county, so if something happens and we lose those documents, we do have
Yeah,
an
that's why
electronic.
we scanned everything, and everything in there's been scanned, except for the plats. And
So everything is scanned, you have some books to restore is what you have
Yes.
left, but everything's been scanned.
everything's been
The
scanned.
scanning is what I'm
Yes,
concerned with.
everything's been scanned, except for the plats and the surveys, and we're working on those now. The plotter that Chuck bought last year and I split with them, that's so that we can start scanning all those plats, so that those will be saved on there too.
Okay. Anything else?
Good. Thank you.
Jay?
I'm good, thank you. Looks very good. Looks like we're very
Okay,
healthy.
this does not require any board action, it's just a report. I signed the report, but I hope you got a little bit of whiteout over there, because I forgot that was your copy instead of my copy, so there's...
Oh, no, that's your copy. I've got the one you
Oh,
signed.
you got that one? Okay.
Yeah.
Thought I was in trouble.
This is my little tab, so I know
Okay.
I've got the right one.
All right, all right, good. Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thanks, Virginia.
I'll bring you that information.
Thank you.
Okay. Public health.
Morning.
Hi, Alex.
How are you?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Alright, so I don't have very much new stuff other than just the usual. However, I have the grant ready for you guys to sign for the tobacco prevention. So I sent a copy to everyone, assuming it looks okay. So it's actually $35,982 for that we have to use by September of next year. So this will go into a lot of research and just kind of figuring out where we're at, and then we're also going to start moving in the same direction as the state as far as talking to law enforcement and everyone that it takes to get the T21 initiative passed, which is changing the age of
The 21.
buying tobacco products to 21.
Great deal. Appreciate the work you've done on this.
Thank you. So the only other thing I really have is that I was like this close to getting our Medicaid application pushed through. And Dr. Beck doesn't have, she's not a Medicaid provider. So now I have to get her a Medicaid provider, and then they'll sign off. So hopefully by flu season, we'll still be able to accept Medicaid for flu shots.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Counselor, have you had a chance to look at this?
Yes, I saw it. It's the standard contract the state always wants us to sign.
Yeah. So, and then something else that I just wanted to...
Stop just a
I'm sorry,
second.
yeah, go ahead.
We have some copies of this. I see, like as Counselor said, it's a standard contract. I would like to make a motion that we approve the task order contract waiver number 154 with the Department of Public Health and Environment.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded. Do we have any discussion at this time? The maximum amount available for this is about almost $36,000. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Now go ahead.
Thank you. Sorry. Got ahead of you.
No, I just wanted to get this done before I forgot to. Go.
All right. So just something for you to keep in the back of your mind. I'm not doing anything official with this because I need to talk to Donna and probably Virginia. But we have, over the last, since like 2014, $6,400 that we haven't spent at all out of the Child Fatality Protective Services grant. We get this grant every year. It's 20, well, it was 25, and then because we didn't use it, it was 24, and then we didn't use it, so it's 2,000. So, I'm not entirely sure why it wasn't used, but we could use it for the Sources of Strength program through the high school. And I've talked to Troy Baumgartner, and they'd like to extend it into middle school and maybe even elementary school because it seems to be making a difference. And it's the anti-bullying initiative and, again, Sources of Strength, so like the suicide issue that we've been dealing with. So, that being said, this money hasn't been spent, but we would have to make a motion to carry it forward from previous years because it just went into the general fund when it wasn't used.
Okay.
So, I'm going to continue to talk to Donna and Virginia about what we need to do about that to maybe have you guys give us the okay to pull it forward. But it's certainly money that the school could be using for that Sources of Strength program.
Is this something you'll investigate further and then bring forward to us in the next meeting?
Yeah, so I just kind of wanted to give you a heads up. That's what I'm working on there. I've also talked to Troy about possibly doing like a camp, if you will, where the senior students work with the oncoming freshman students to kind of create some relationships there and hopefully some strength in our upcoming freshmen so that they don't feel so overwhelmed.
Cool.
Can we just go back to the Sources of Strength? Is that something that you would be doing?
No, it's actually Troy. I mean, it's Troy Baumgartner, actually. It's a counselor at the school.
But it's something that comes through our...
But it would be funding from public health, yeah. So I'm not going to run the program per se. I'm just going to fund it. Yeah. So, and I've actually talked to a few camps, Uplift Mountain and the Lutheran camp, and either one of them would be happy to provide their place to do this camp, and it would be like next fall, like
As school starts.
July,
Before school
early
starts.
August. Yeah, before school starts, so that there can be some relationships built before school starts in there.
Great idea.
Yeah, so that's all I got. Unless you want me to talk about this 3 pages of monotony.
Just a question. You held a class on the AEDs down in Wetmore.
I'm doing that on Monday.
Oh,
This coming Monday.
I thought it was yesterday. Okay, no problem.
Sorry. Yeah, no, I did take them, as soon as I got them, I took them down there so they had them. And I gave them like a quick down and dirty, if this happens, turn it on, it'll tell you what to do. But I'm going to do the actual full CPR class next Monday.
Great. I'd like to know how many people attend that once you have that information.
Okay, yeah, definitely.
Do we have any potential violations out there? I don't think we do, but with what we're doing that could be impacted by HIPAA? Like over to school or anything?
No, because I don't get patient names. You know, we don't deal with, we do with vaccinations, and we sign consents, and that is a HIPAA issue, that we keep those names under control. When I give you numbers, though, it doesn't have any names, so it doesn't
I was
violate.
thinking of facility or, not any of that stuff that could be a problem, but it's not. It's something.
Well,
that
and
can be
it's not,
confidential.
HIPAA is Health Information Protection Privacy Act, right? So, so that's like our vaccination information, but these kind of programs, it's a maybe a different privacy issue that I don't know about because it's a school thing. But as far as health
Well,
and public health goes, we're
I'm
good.
just double checking this because it was brought to my attention that potentially there were issues and I haven't been able to find any yet. So.
Yeah, we should be good.
Okay.
So, and I mean, we're diligent to keep our health information for our vaccines secure.
Anything else?
thrilled to death with the job you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you.
So now we have a supervising doctor,
Our medical advisor.
medical, that's what I was reaching for. And we're in good shape with that.
We are in good shape with that. And as far as like all of our legal stuff goes, she's squared away. Everything's totally great with that. I just need to get her to be a Medicaid provider.
It should sound like no problem there.
It's really no problem. It's just a very tedious application.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I'll be doing the rest of this week.
And your budget.
And my budget.
Okay, well, I have nothing else to you. I would offer the board's congratulations to you for coming on. You not only hit the ground running, but you've hit the ground jumping hurdles too.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
I think we're very pleased with where we are and the level that we're able to deliver to our folks. And
Yeah,
thank you and
thank
your
you.
staff
Thank you.
for all that you've
Yeah,
done.
the staff is amazing. I couldn't do any of this without them.
But you just fit in like a seamless, you just went right in and it was super.
Thank you. Are you done with those?
I got an initial unless you want to fill out all this stuff.
Yeah, I can fill it out if you feel comfortable with that. Or do you want me to just come pick them up later?
Just give me just a second because we're running a little bit ahead of time.
Those are actually due, like on the 1st, so.
Because you're not due to start for 5 more minutes.
You're so good
Today
like that.
You'll have to do it all over again.
is the 6th, right?
Yes,
Yes,
it
sir.
is.
9/6.
Switch your space since you've moved over there. Your
Good.
office space. You were talking about swapping.
Well, we did right off the bat, yeah. Yeah. So, it's nice and cozy. Thank you.
You know, this is kind of an oxymoron to ask you to print your name and sign it. My printing is so bad you can't read either one anyway. So. Okay. Thank you very
Fantastic, thank you.
much. Okay.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thanks.
They're all good. Some just better than others.
That's my line. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the only other item I have left on here is human services. Do we need to take a recess, or should everybody comfortable? Let's go ahead at this time with human services.
I don't see her in the audience. I don't see her in the audience.
Let me go see if I can find her.
Can
Well-
I bring up something?
Please do.
Okay, I had forgotten about this. We talked a while back about John Naylor's files, 46 years worth of files, and we wanted to get them and store them somewhere. We didn't follow through on that. Can I make some arrangements, or can Kelly make some arrangements, or I don't know where we're gonna put them, because I saw them and there's lots of big boxes, you know, those file boxes in his office, but we need to do something, because I had notified him we didn't want them.
Would you estimate a pickup load or more?
Yeah, I think it would, at least it would be a big pickup load, probably more than that, probably a trailer of some kind, or at least a couple of trips with a pickup.
And they're all boxed up.
Everything's all in those cardboard file boxes.
Is this some, I'm just wondering, do we have room in the basement for that?
Well, that's what I was just thinking. I mean, I think we need to make room somewhere because I think that that would be good to have them. And then at some point, go through them and,
I guess,
The hardest thing is that you've got all these files downstairs in boxes, which is not conditioned space whatsoever,
Right.
which can be damaged at any time. They're not even in fireproof filing cabinets. So all that needs to be addressed.
Well, I just want to make sure that John doesn't think we've lost interest. I see that he called me just now. I didn't, answer, of course, so I don't know if he wanted to talk about that or something else, but I just want to let him know we want to follow through on it. And whether we hire somebody to go down there and haul these up for us, or somebody's going down that way and has a truck that can pick these. But it's going to take a lot of lifting by somebody a lot younger and stronger than I am, or John.
We have the basement here. We have the basement over at the VO office. That place to store 'em.
it's the same situation as in that basement is over here.
Yeah.
I know, it's terrible.
How confidential are they? If you have other people going in there to the...
there's not very
There's
many
not.
people that have access to it.
There's only, she's got the key. Let's see Clint, what he estimates truckload wise, because I might be able to go down and pick them up. I do have younger staff.
I guess I'm maybe thinking ahead. I don't want to put words in my road supervisor, but I do have a 18-foot trailer. It's a low trailer. And I'd be willing to take it down if we could get a couple of road and bridge guys to go along and be the strong back. So I know in the past we've used road and bridge to move a little bit of stuff, I think, haven't we? Mm-hmm. And that would be a source of physical. These are in a basement or upstairs or?
When I saw them, they were all stacked in one corner of his office, or one whole wall of his office, I should say.
But that's up, it's at ground level or higher.
Actually, his office, you have to go down some stairs to get, so you have to carry him up, maybe 8 feet of elevation.
Really?
Let's see what we can do on that. If we tell him that we're working on it,
And I'll tell John.
he'll be very happy to run down. Hi.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Laura,
Good morning, Clint. How are you?
I always haven't forgotten me.
No, I try not to forget you. It happens sometimes. You're over there, you're quiet, Okay. You guys have my monthly report. If you don't have any questions about that, I've got other stuff, but if you do, we can review it. Anybody have any questions about the expenditures or anything on this thing?
Looks pretty standard. I
Yeah.
didn't see anything unusual.
Yeah. Okay.
Unless I'm missing something.
Nope,
Pretty
nope,
high attention
nope,
I have.
nope, I didn't see it either. That's why there's, nothing outstanding there at all. So one of the things I want to talk to you guys is about that hotline. You've got all this information, okay? We really want to have them take over that hotline for us because there's times that we're having a hard time keeping people in the office to answer that. And so this way we're still getting the information and it's not a problem. There's 29 counties that, I didn't submit that, but there are 29 counties that have already done this, and some of them are bigger counties, much bigger counties than us. But we would like to do that. And so I just need your approval for them to do it. Do you have any questions about it? And
What's this cost us now?
this doesn't cost us anything.
Why haven't we done it before?
Well, because when they first started it, that wasn't an option.
Yeah.
And they're seeing that counties are struggling with it, and I think that the call center that they set up isn't getting as many calls as they thought. So now they've got it called a gathering information thing, and now we can do that. Well, they'll gather the information and send it to us, so that we don't have to have somebody in here. Last week, Linda and I were meeting with, we had a meeting over a child. Stacy was here. She got a call. She had to leave. So now we don't have anybody in the office to answer the hotline. And so it's just stuff like that we're finding more and more and more often. With this, we'll still get the information. We can still do it. We just don't have to have somebody in there all the time. So we're still going to get it. That's not going to stop. So
you would get your information if something was critical.
Oh yeah, we're going to get.
How do you get that? From them?
They send us. They call us, and we get that, and we get it that way, and then they put it in what is called our trail system. That's our child welfare system, and they put it in there, and then they send it to us. So all the information is in there, but they also call us to let us know that it's in there. So, not like the other day when we were gone, somebody was in the office, they would have answered the phone, and they would have found out there was a call. Then they could have called me or somebody or Linda, and we would have come over and taken care of it.
Was Chuck able to go in? Because I know he...
No. And that's still not going to, even if we don't have this, we still are going to have that problem. Because we can't, because the phone is set up that way. It's not so much the hotline issue as the phone's just set up that way. And that's the issue.
He was able to find a password for the system. Have you had a discussion with him in the last month?
Yeah, he told me he got a password, but he said, I have a password, but I'm not sure that I can still do anything with it. So, I don't know.
So this hotline that we're talking about, is that for any services that come through your office?
No,
it's children.
It's child welfare. It's a child welfare hotline.
Okay.
So, it was set up because some people did not know who to call,
This is a long overdue.
And this was set up. This was set up, a couple of years ago, so that people can call this number. And but the calls, we were getting in the beginning, we were getting solicitor calls. The number belonged to somebody else who was being,
Inappropriate.
Well, apparently they weren't paying their bills, so they were having collection agencies call us. We were getting all these crazy calls. And with this, we're allowed at 48 calls a year, and then there's no charge. And they don't take into consideration all these calls that have nothing to do with child welfare. They don't put those in there. So we can't see that we have not had 48 calls. So we should have no cost to the county.
So how is this set up? Do we have to do something to our phone system? Or
No, you don't have to do anything.
Just advertise the number for people to call, and then it'll come to you?
Yeah, the number will probably be the same. They can call in. It's just going to go directly to the hotline in Prowers County.
Got it.
And so we don't have to do anything. I just have to have this stuff signed, and then I get a hold of Jack Gilbert, who is in charge of that, and he's going to do whatever he does on his end, and then the calls won't come in here anymore. They'll just go directly to the call center.
Well, I recommend to my colleagues that we obviously approve this.
In looking at the coverage services, there's about 25 counties in the state that have full-time service from this company. And almost without exception, they're all rural counties, the counties that don't have a lot of assets. I don't see any of the metropolitan counties that are involved here because they're able to man them. But we have, because this is the example, Sedgwick County, northeastern Colorado, a small county like us. Phillips County, Moffett County, Los Animas, Lake, Kiowa, Kit Carson, Jackson, Dolores, Castilla, Conejos. All small counties, so I think it certainly is something that I think we can utilize. This time, I would entertain a motion to authorize this.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we authorize our human services to utilize, and is there a name for this?
Well, it's a child welfare hotline.
To utilize the child welfare hotline. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I need you to sign this MOU. Did you check that? You checked out that MOU?
I did. My legal opinion is it's manna from heaven. And it falls into our lap free, so.
I know, and 49 people looked at that before, probably more. So I would need,
That's fine.
a signature here. All right there. And on that. This is for the child welfare hotline.
Oh, that's the MOU.
It's the MOU. It's the MOU. It's the MOU for that. Sorry.
How soon would you be able?
Pretty quick, I think. I will probably get a hold of Jack and probably scan this stuff and send it directly to him, and then it'll probably be taken over then.
Okay.
And then I need this one too.
While Bob is signing that, let me ask the question I ask every single month. Is there anything unusual, any anomalies, anything that needs to be brought to our attention that we failed to notice?
No, but I do want to talk to you guys, and I can't do it in this open meeting.
That's fine.
About
An issue.
an issue. So it just came up started last Thursday or Friday. And so I do want to talk to you about that sometime, just to let you know what's going on. So when do you want to do it?
Do we need a special meeting to do this, or can it wait till our next regular meeting?
It would need to be done in executive
Yeah.
session pursuant to one of the statutory provisions.
Yeah.
It's required by law to be kept confidential, which is subparagraph 4C.
Excuse me, but I'm wondering if we could do it today. We said we didn't need an executive session. Now this has come about. We're running ahead of time. If we could address this, because this is the last item I have on the agenda, unless there's something else. And then these folks can come back in and hear our final say if they want to. If not, they're free to go home.
Is this anything that's going to require any kind of board action?
Nope.
Okay.
None whatsoever. I just want to fill them in.
What this is, folks, we have some stuff over here that is confidential regarding children, regarding specific issues. And this is probably, this might be under the HIPAA Act, I don't know, but we do have
no,
to.
not HIPAA, but no, but
We do
it's
have
confidential.
statutory requirement that we do discuss. She brings us up to date basically on, for lack of a better word, the cases or the situations that she's working with. John?
Just, at some point, I'd like to ask a question prior to you going into executive. Is this appropriate?
And we already had that comment period, but is this regarding something we haven't discussed?
It's regarding the storage of John's legal documents.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Sure, that'll be fine. Anything else for us?
Yes, I got. I want to. Neither one of my caseworkers have. They've just been using their own cell phones. They don't have a county cell phone. We would like to. One of them would like to have a county cell phone. How do we go about doing that? Because she's getting way too many calls on her private cell phone. So how do we go about doing that?
Is that in your budget?
No, it's not for this year.
So we're going to have to work with Donna and see where we can pull that funding from.
Okay. I probably have, it's not, I don't have a specific line item for it, but I might have enough in my overall budget to do that. And so, but I'll talk to her because I wasn't sure where to start, if I needed to talk to you, if I needed to talk to them.
We can allocate in your budget, if there's enough money, you can allocate from one fund
to the other
separate funds. So
Yeah.
that could solve that
Yeah,
problem.
that's what I'm thinking. And I'll have to talk, I'll talk to Chuck too, who's in charge of getting those cell phones? See, I don't even know that.
They have been passed around and down and all over the place, and I know that Donna has 2, I believe, right now in her possession.
Oh.
From Chuck's the one that signs it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll just talk to Chuck about it and,
Yeah.
and,
So
and see.
I think they're already here.
Yeah,
But it
okay.
would be the phone use. should
Phone
have
use,
to be-
yeah, the usage on it.
And I think that's absolutely appropriate for county.
Yeah,
We
and-
need to use a phone for county business.
And we, it's come up before, and they said, we don't want 2 cell phones, we gotta pack them around and stuff. But she's getting more calls on it, and she goes, I would really like to have one. And I said, well, I know there's other people that have county cell phones, so that can't be a huge issue.
Yeah.
So I just wasn't sure how to do
The
it.
other thing that I look at, though, I think it's important to segregate
Yes, it is.
county business from personal business.
I
And
do,
this-
I do too. And when I asked him about it, they didn't want to do it, but now it's coming up, so they do want to do that.
It's
So
not very far from one cell phone that will take 2 different different accounts
Yes.
on one device. We're very close to that, and that'll solve the problem where they can have a separate county, separate personal, one device. We're very close to that.
yeah, okay. Okay, so I'll talk to Chuck and we'll see, and I'll talk to Donna, and maybe we can fix them out.
I think that's fine.
Okay, anything else?
One more.
Keep going.
One more. I know John Paquette's retiring, but John also does some books for me. And I said, well, do you still want to do mine since it's not very much? And he said, well, I don't know, would the commissioners be okay with that? And I said, well, I don't know why they wouldn't, but he wanted me to check with you guys.
I need to find out what all that entails.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So,
Because even if he quits, I'm going to have somebody come in
Right.
and do my books. So I'm still
Right.
going to have to do that.
well,
So-
we just appointed Donna Hobby to move into that position November 15th.
Oh, okay,
So she could be trained on that.
okay, okay.
But this has been something that is a part of her budget. She's always had funds for.
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah.
auditors, so-
Right, and that, I know because I've seen John's
Yeah.
invoices, and there's,
Yeah.
he
John
gets
was
paid a
doing-
monthly
Sure.
fee, and then he
Yeah.
does a quarterly thing.
But I believe John was doing that as a individual, not as our county finance officer.
Exactly.
Okay,
I had a contract
It's
with
a
him.
separate deal.
okay,
I was contracting with John to do that.
okay.
So, but he wanted to make sure it was okay with you before
Well,
we did it.
we have a discussion, we can talk about it
Okay,
on Friday.
okay, perfect. Okay, so then that's all I have, so whenever you want to meet with me about the other thing, it's fine.
Well, aren't we gonna go into
Well,
executive
that's what I
session?
thought.
If I may, yeah, if you will
Okay.
just
Sure,
sit there a moment.
I won't go
We need to
anywhere.
respond to John,
Okay,
and then we will recess the meeting. I will explain why we are going into executive session. We'll recess, go into executive session, discuss this issue, come back out of executive session, explain that's what we can, and we stayed on topic and so forth. And then we'll adjourn the meeting. That sound like a workable plan?
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, for maybe a future agenda item in the future of preserving the security of our written history, should we look at either maybe a company like iPods, whatever they are, I don't know, or purchasing maybe a storage container to secure our written history? Future agenda
It's-
item.
That's a possibility, but again, it's, those are basically weatherproof, but they're not watertight. But it's something we can look at. I mean, we're using it at the sheriff's office, but it's a good idea.
Well, and like all my documents, they're in a vault, and it's fireproof, and, I think you'd have to have a heck of a fire to,
I was just thinking about the basement.
yeah. The basement, the documents that are down there are documents that we store for a time, and then we shred and get rid of. So they're not historical documents and stuff like that.
And my concern is historical documents.
Good point. Thanks, John. All right, folks, at this time, I'm going to ask that we amend the agenda to return back to the executive session. As we reached that item in the agenda, we decided we did not need to have one. But since then, because of the report given to us by Human Services, there is a need to discuss an issue they have. So I'm going to recess the meeting of the Board of Custer County Commissioners, And I would like a motion that we reconvene as an executive session.
I'll make that motion that we
We're
adjourn.
not actually recessing.
We don't,
We're not recessing.
pardon me?
We're not recessing as the Board of County Commissioners, just a motion to go into executive
Okay.
session.
I rescind what I said, and I make a motion that we go into executive session at this time. Is there a second?
There's a second.
Moved and seconded, any discussion?
We need, for the record, we need to say that the purpose of this executive session would be to discuss confidential matters pursuant to Colorado Revised Statute, Section 24-6-402, subparagraph 4, subparagraph C, which requires executive session for matters that must be kept confidential pursuant to federal or state law. And state law requires the kind of information that Ms. Lockhart wants to talk about to be kept confidential.
How long do you expect this to take?
Oh, I don't think it'll take more than 15, 20 minutes.
Okay.
It's not very long. We just want to fill you in on some stuff.
Did we vote yet?
No.
No. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. We will now go into executive session, folks, and we estimate 10 to 15 minutes.
Good
15
meeting.
to 20.
Okay. Good.
I hereby attest that this recording reflects the actual contents of the discussion at the executive session and has been made in lieu of any written minutes to satisfy the recording requirements of the open meetings law. The county clerk is in possession of the record. The time is now 10:55, and we would now conclude the executive session and return to the open meeting.
For the record, as the county attorney, I will certify that the executive session was held pursuant to Colorado Revised Statute, Section 24-6-402, 4C, that the discussion remained on topic and that no decisions or action, no decisions were made, no action was taken during the executive session.
Is there any other business to come before the board at this time?
Can I just real quick ask you about that letter? Is that something we can take care of outside?
She's,
Yeah.
She's got to look at the minutes.
Well, I've got it pulled up to the exact time, so.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah, so, but I don't know if we need to do it during a meeting or, because you already made the motion, so it's
Yeah.
just a matter of clarifying.
You can probably just, as soon as we adjourned, listen to it.
okay. I have one other minor item that I'm going to go out and visit with Road and Bridge. We have an agreement to grade Forest Service roads a couple of times a year. I had made a very strong request that they be graded as quickly or as soon as they could around Memorial Weekend. And again, by Labor Day weekend, and I understand that we've not been grading these roads. So I'm going to go out and ask to see the records and see where we are on them, because we do have a contract for the Forest Service. And that's all that I have, just an information for you guys. This time I declare the meeting adjourned at 10:55.